Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're stepping right into the researcher's lab. As linguistic detectives, my team and we don't just listen to the stories people tell us. We actually dissect the very words they use to build them. So, we're going to show you exactly how researchers use cognitive linguistics to uncover these profound hidden meanings that are literally hiding in plain sight within everyday, unscripted speech. To pull this off, we're using an onion metaphor. We'll be decoding legal consciousness, looking at Layer 1, breaking sentences, Layer 2, uncovering metaphors, Layer 3, narrative architecture, and finally, peeling your own onion. We're basically peeling back the layers of communication from surface-level grammar all the way down to those grand, subconscious stories people construct. Let's kick things off with our central mystery, decoding legal consciousness. Before we even glance at a single piece of data, we have to lock on to our target. And this brings up the fundamental question we face in the lab. How do we uncover what people really think about the law? Because let me tell you, as researchers, we know that people rarely just hand us a perfectly cohesive philosophy of justice during an interview. Nope. Their true feelings are usually buried deep in unscripted rants, casual remarks, and passing observations. In the academic world, we call this target legal consciousness. It's essentially how individuals perceive, navigate, or even actively resist the law through their everyday unscripted speech and text. To capture this, to really get how someone relates to these massive legal systems, we have to put our raw data under the microscope and start peeling that onion, starting with the absolute most foundational elements of language. And that brings us to Layer 1, breaking sentences. When we get a fresh interview transcript in the lab, we don't just give it a quick skim. Following Kathy Charmas's grounded theory, my team painstakingly breaks down texts line by line. Our goal here is to simply name the action or event happening in each sentence. It is rigorous, honestly exhausting work, because we have to totally strip away our own theoretical bias. We're forcing ourselves to build the analysis purely from the ground up. To manage these absolute mountains of data, researchers rely on content analysis software, like Atlas.t. We basically filter massive amounts of text into analytical buckets based on parts of speech. Nouns point us to central concepts. Verbs reveal actions or states. And adjectives? They capture the qualities and qualifiers attached to those concepts. It's our very first glimpse at the patterns hiding right there in the raw mechanics of their speech. This is where the magic happens. A noun, like judiciary, paired with a verb like punish, and an adjective like responsible, gives us the literal building blocks of a person's worldview. Think about it. If subject A talks about a system that protects, and subject B talks about a system designed to punish, we've just documented two vastly different realities, even though they are talking about the exact same institution. Crazy, right? Okay, let's go a bit deeper. Layer 2, uncovering metaphors. See, as researchers, we absolutely cannot stop at literal meaning. We have to examine the subconscious mental frameworks that really structure human reasoning. We do this by looking at mappings. This is how people map a concrete source domain onto an abstract target domain. It is brilliant when you spot it. Notice how often people frame an abstract argument as a literal war. They defend a point or attack a claim. Or how morality gets mapped onto basic accountancy. People talk about having to pay for their sins or owe a debt to society. So where do these mappings come from? Well, they're built on what we researchers call P-prims, or phenomenological primitives. Basically, these are our intuitive, pre-reflective understandings of the physical world that act as the foundation for metaphors. For example, think about the phrase grasping an idea. It perfectly connects a mental abstraction to the physical P-prim that closer is stronger. Because we physically grasp objects to control them, we naturally use that exact same physical logic to describe understanding a concept. It's just endlessly fascinating. When we really start coding these interpretive frames, we find some striking examples. Take medication-assisted treatment, or MAT. A lot of people view it purely medically, but in our linguistic analysis, we found subjects vividly framing it as a constraint, explicitly calling it liquid handcuffs. I mean, wow. For a researcher, finding a phrase like that is pure gold. Those two words alone tell us everything we need to know about the speaker's deeply held consciousness regarding their treatment. Moving on to the final layer, Layer 3, narrative architecture. Now we get to zoom out. Drawing on the foundational research of Iroquois and Silby, my team synthesizes all those individual noun and verb codes, along with those rich metaphors to figure out the grand story being told. We categorize them into 3 overarching narratives of legality to see their view of the law. Are they before the law, viewing it as an impartial, separate, and authoritative system? Are they with the law, seeing it as a game or a strategic tool to be played? Or are they against the law, building a narrative of resistance against a system they see as oppressive and unfair? Once we have their societal positioning, we apply Robin West's aesthetic analysis to plot the emotional and structural arc of their worldview into different archetypes. When we look at their data, we ask, is their language constructing a heroic romance, focused on a quest for justice? Is it steeped in irony and skepticism? Is it a comedy focused on social progress, or does their language reveal a deep tragedy, painting a picture of inevitable conflict or decline? And that leads us to our final section, peeling your own onion. So, why does a researcher's highly structured, microscopic methodology actually matter to you? Because this analytical journey, isolating raw mechanics with words, revealing hidden frameworks for metaphors, and synthesizing the grand story into narrative architecture, it isn't just for academic labs. It completely demystifies the profound meaning hiding right in plain sight in your everyday life. Our linguistic detective work really applies to all of us. So, are you ready to apply the onion metaphor to your own words? The next time you have a completely unscripted conversation, take a step back and ask yourself, what hidden narrative architecture are your words building right now? Are your metaphors mapping out a tragedy or a romance? And what does your grammar actually reveal about your own consciousness? Keep peeling that onion.